So we're live. We're live right now. What's up, cutie?
Cool. How about you?
You cool? I'm all right. I'm all right. Thanks for hopping on this live stream with me. I wouldn't want to talk to anybody else.
Aw.
Yeah, I miss you.
We're in the same house. Stop acting
Stop
like we're
playing.
not side by side.
Stop playing. Hey, you know I love you, right? Uh oh. Are your connection
I don't
dropped?
know. No, it didn't. I can hear you. I love you too.
Oh, you got so shy you stopped the connection.
Tell me, what are we going to talk about?
You know what we're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about our relationship and how much we love each
No, that's not the topic.
other. All right. Hey, everybody. So we're out here. I'm here with my wife, Acti, Act Dennis Shaheen Hill. Yeah. My beautiful wife. She's about to be a psychologist, therapist. She's going to be the one that's going to help you with all your problems. And hey, so we have a topic today. We're going to talk about the Gambian men who are sleeping with old British ladies, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's why we're here, right?
Yeah, that is why we're here, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Hey, so Acti sent me this video, but Acti, tell them about the video. Tell them about the video you sent me that we watched yesterday. By the way, we're gonna put the link in the description.
Okay.
So
Well, yeah. So I was just one morning. I woke up. I was getting ready to get to school, and this video popped up, and it's a video about this guy. I think he's American, right? He's an American dude that goes to Gambia and explores this whole world of sex work between young Gambian men and old British ladies.
yeah.
And he has some friends and stuff, and he kind of follows along some of the relationships, like long-term relationships that these couples have. And it's very interesting. Like he talks to the British like side, and then he also explores like the Gambian side. He talks to those guys who do this thing. And yeah, it's like it was an interesting like video. I think it's like a short documentary type of video. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's basically the general idea.
Yeah, basically, I think the guy was British though. He definitely had a British accent. The
Oh man.
documentary.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, the video is about the sex work that happens in Gambia. Young black men in Gambia are often targeted or wanted or solicited by these old British ladies to sleep with them or have relationships with them. A lot of the times, the women go back to their countries and never talk to the guys again. And a lot of the guys, exploit these old women who are desperate for attention and love for money. And yeah, we just wanted to explore this topic and talk about it because I think we both have interesting perspectives about it. So I
Mm.
wanted to get like your perspective initially, like about how you felt watching this documentary. And by the way, everybody, you're going to see the documentary. It's going to be in the description of the video. Watch it after you watch our live stream. But actually, tell us what you thought when you saw it.
Mm. I mean, every time I watch or read or see things like this, I can't help, as a future like psychologist or a therapist, I try to see like things from that point of view. Sometimes I imagine what it would be like to work with those people and stuff like that. So, but I guess I'll say like the general emotion that I felt watching the whole thing was just like sadness, basically,
Mm.
because it was so sad to see such like handsome young men who are able to do so many
Hey, I'm the
things.
only one handsome. Hey, stop.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, they're good looking guys, and
Yeah.
they're also like young and strong and all of that. So it's sad to see that they have to resort to this type of thing. But at the same time,
Mm.
I feel guilty if I try to blame them for doing this, because I feel like the society or the world has given these people so little to work with, then they feel like they're trapped in this like financial, I don't know, prison, and they're basically
Mhm.
looking for a sugar mama. And there's also like the historical context of things, like Gambia was one of the many colonies of the British.
Yeah, from Britain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that historical context, and maybe they also like feel that type of, I don't know how to put this, denigration
Mm.
themselves, but they have to do this, some for their family, some for their own future, which is not wrong either. So yeah, that's the general like feeling I felt, and that were my general thoughts if I don't go into too much detail.
No, no, like, you can go into detail. We're here chopping it up. Like, definitely, there was that feeling I felt too of watching this and feeling sad for everybody involved. Because imagine being an old woman and you don't have anybody that loves you or who's around you, and you're just left alone. And now you have to, try to find somebody who's there for you during, especially those, you know, golden years of your life where you're just, at the house, retired, not doing much. That can be
Yeah,
lonely. You know.
it's such
But
a, go ahead.
no, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say this, like it's such a weird situation because each side is trying to help each other,
Hmm.
but then also each side is also harming each other as well, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah. But I think one side is definitely doing more harm than the other, in my opinion. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like, you know, anybody who goes in to a faraway poor country, third world country, to partake in sex work, you're definitely the exploiter more than the person who might get you out of $1,000 or make you pay up your pay, like the money you paid for your house or your car. Like, you're more the exploiter than that person because you're taking your privilege to go over there and lord it over people who have very little. So I'm not saying that the women deserve to get their whole bank accounts cleared out, but they know what they're doing. Like, they know what they're doing,
Yeah.
and especially and yeah. So yeah, definitely there's a feeling of watching this of sadness and all around. But I definitely think the women bring it onto themselves more than the men do. If
Hmm.
that makes sense. What do you think about that? Are the men really like responsible for this too? Like, really more responsible because you said like they have nothing.
Uh, I mean, like in this documentary, since that's like our starting point, I really liked the guy who was doing this whole project because he was asking sort of questions that I didn't see in other documentaries. He was basically kind of trying to, when he was talking to the Gambians, the Gambian men, he was basically trying to get them to say, like, we're being exploited. And
Mm,
only one person said that. Only one person, when they were having the conversation of like who is who's exploiting who. This one guy said like the ladies are basically doing a gamble and they're
mm,
exploiting these young men, and if they
mm-hmm,
get scammed then they lose the game. So it's fair for them. He was saying something
mm,
like it's fair game for them because they know why they're here, and they take
mm.
they take the step, and then if they lose their money then that's on them.
Right,
Other
right,
than that, no other guy was like kind of saying this or saying anything bad about any of the old ladies
right.
basically.
No, I get that. I get that. Yeah, when you watch the documentary, guys, like when the British guys interviewing the Gambian guys, none of them really want to give it up that they feel like this is an exploitative situation. But a lot of them do say, we don't have anything to really work with. This is sort of like what we have in our country. And if you guys don't know much about the Gambia is a very, very small country. It's like half of the Gambian River is the entire country, and it's a country inside of a country, inside the country of Senegal in West Africa. And it's a country whose borders sort of limit its progress. They don't have any real natural resources or opportunities to develop other than tourism. And a country that's so dependent on tourism is going to be a country that doesn't have a lot of options for its young men. But I think when it comes to the exploitation, maybe the guys don't want to say they feel like they're exploited. Maybe they don't want to say it because they don't want to admit that they're sort of like a weaker party in this situation. Maybe that's just my opinion, though. You
No,
know?
no. I think there's some truth into that because if we look worldwide, like sex work is done by women mostly. So being men who are the subject of sex work, that
Mhm.
probably is like a harsh thing to admit. Like it's probably hard
Yeah,
for them to admit that. But yeah,
yeah, yeah.
also about like the exploitation point. When we talked about this earlier, we were talking about that one black British lady that
Oh
also,
yeah, 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 yeah,
and
yeah.
she
Definitely.
was like with a Gambian guy also. But
Hmm.
the thing that I said was that with
Let's.
her different because there is less historical context or historical tension between the black
Yeah,
UK and then the Gambian men because they share that historical background, I guess, to some level. I know it's not the same,
yeah.
but
No, no, let's break that down because that's very interesting. So, everybody, when you watch this video, this documentary about about the sex work in Gambia, which is done by women, which is why the documentary is so compelling, right? Like the people who are buying the sex workers or seeking them out are women, which is why it makes it, unique. Uh, the majority of the people doing this are white British women, of course, but one of the primary people in the story is a older black British woman, right? And I get the feeling from watching her tell her story that it's really about finding companionship and love, more than it is about sex, you know. Like I get the
hmm
feeling with some of the other white ladies that are in this thing, they're really out there. Let's face it, they're BBC hunters. They're going for to Gambia to get it blown out of proportion. And she, that's my opinion though. That's what I feel like. I feel like because let's keep it real. There's a bunch of black men in the UK. There's a bunch of black men all over Europe, but they're going for poor black men who have the things that they think black men have, and they're going to get those guys to give them a service that's harder for them to get in the UK because of their age and their looks and that sort of thing. That's my opinion. But this older black woman, she sounded more like she just wanted love and affection and attention from somebody who looked like her and somebody who could feel her. You get what I'm saying?
I get
That's what I'm thinking.
so I don't like 100% agree because I don't think her intentions were purer than the other ladies. I think they're all looking for some sort of companionship. And like when she was on the screen, yes, like we saw cute moments, but we also saw her like her with her cocktail in her hand in the beach and she's talking about, Gambia.
Right.
So, yeah, like, I don't think like her intentions were that different from like white old British ladies, but there's I think there's still like that background thing that matters for her because she's not gonna look the same way a white British lady looks at them
Or
about
be looked at.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Right, right. Are you saying like she's not going to look at the Gambian men with fetishization like the
Yes.
white British woman would? Yeah, but that's what I think. I think you and I are saying the same thing, but just differently. Because I think the white British ladies are fetishizing the biggest black they put in their pipes. I'll keep it real. That's what they're looking for, man. But the black woman's probably not seeing them like that. She's not thinking like
Yeah,
that.
so I guess like we can say the black lady is seeing them as like fetishizing them in a way that they're young, and the other ladies are fetishizing them because they're young and black.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I think. That's what I think. But but yeah, women also do want companionship. Women do not want to feel lonely. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. But I also think with the white women, there is some sexualization. You know what I mean? Because who remember there was that one white woman in the documentary who had braids, and she was like, you could sleep with two, three guys a day if you really want to. You could walk outside wearing flip flops and a looking trashy, and you can get a guy as long as they see the white skin, because they know they have that privilege, and they are looking for sex, right? And it's okay if women look for sex, but you know, if you're looking at it fetishizing black men, I think that's wrong. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about the privilege part of it. Do you think white women who go to Africa for love or attention know the power of their whiteness, as in how easy it is to get and attract black men because of that? Do you think they know that?
Um, well, as a white woman who went to Africa, uh, I would say like before going there, of course, like I'm aware of the white privilege around the world of like my
Mm,
identity, but I wasn't that aware before I went there. And then as soon as I land and then maybe like go out, by myself or even with you, I my awareness went from like 30% to 200% because like it was insane. It was like I just breathe and these African men are like around me. You don't really have to do anything, and that is like
yeah.
the truth of it. Like we live this, you and I, when
Hmm.
there,
Yeah.
like people going over their head to take care of me in any sort of way
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So yes, like I think once you go there, it you are like you should be super aware of your privilege. And like when those things were happening to me, I did not enjoy all that attention because once I'm married, I mean
Damn right.
married,
Hey, y'all better hear that. Hey, y'all. Yeah, yeah. Damn right, you married.
and like also I felt like kind of targeted, but at the same time, I felt guilty because I knew that this happened because of those rich white people who came here and maybe kind of sort of treated, African servers or whatever like they are underprivileged,
Hmm.
could make them do anything if they have the money.
Mm. I
So
mean, you also do have pretty privilege, though. Let's keep it real. Like, you're gonna attract men because we're out here in Budapest and people try to holler. You've been in Turkey and people tried to holler. I mean, you do have pretty privilege and you are cute, so people are gonna try to get at you. But yeah, there is that extra layer because of your whiteness. People are gonna get at you.
yeah, but then like women and children were involved in this too. Like it's not that old men and everything. Like it was everything. It was everyone.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's true. So yeah, I don't think there's a single white person who can go to Africa and then not realize what white privilege is. And yeah, when you see it in person, and it's all over Africa, all over Black Africa, except Mauritius. Like in Mauritius, that didn't happen, right?
Uh,
What was it like in Mauritius?
In Mauritius, like yeah, no, it wasn't that intense. There was like some sort of privilege there too, but it wasn't as intense like as Kenya. Like if I have to score it in Mauritius it was like 2 out of 10. And then in
Hmm.
Africa, it was like 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10,
It's
something.
crazy.
It was like a
That's crazy.
higher score. So, yeah. And like,
That's crazy.
I couldn't tell if it was white privilege or pretty privilege. But as
Mm,
soon as I landed in Tanzania, I knew it was white privilege. Like, you
yeah,
feel,
it's a lot of privilege, pretty privilege, but then it's also even more white privilege. You know.
yeah.
You know. But I never told you. Go ahead.
I don't know if there are any white people who go to Africa and think, "Oh, Africans are so nice and they're so like hospitable," or all of those things. Like, no, not
Yeah.
all of them are. At least, like, of course, some people are, but it's not only that. Just be aware.
Are you saying? Wait, are you saying that there's no way a white person can come out of Africa and just come back thinking, "Oh, Africans are so nice," like they're gonna be aware of their privilege. Is that what you're saying, or are you
Yeah,
saying like,
there can be some people who won't be aware of their privilege. Like
mm,
having you by my side, like made me look at my trip in a whole different perspective. And
mm,
good. Uh, but like I'm probably thinking even if I wasn't with you, I would still feel that I was privileged, obviously, but it wouldn't be as effective as how it happened. And if like a I don't know, a pretty couple from Norway went to
mhm.
Africa and they're both white and they're staying at a resort and they don't go out and mingle with the locals too much, then they might
Yeah,
not be aware.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Shout out Guyana Brent. Shout out to Guyana Brent. Thanks for coming in. But yeah, like I never told you this, but I feel like I felt like sometimes when we were in Africa, like people might have thought I was like some like Gambian like man or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you were my sugar mama. You know what I mean? I don't
Wow.
know if I ever told you this. I don't think I've ever told you this. But there are a lot of times when we were out like that. Sometimes, you know, like I was your Kenyan boy toy.
Mm. Well, I wish I could make enough money to be a sugar mama, but unfortunately I can't. I mean, I don't right now. Not that I
No,
can,
you're
but
gonna then you're gonna take care of me. Yeah, yeah. That's what it's gonna be. Yeah, but
yeah, but
but yeah, man. There's no way you can walk out of Africa like and not notice white privilege, right?
yeah.
And a lot of that comes from poverty, but like of course a lot of that comes from the mind, like how people have been shown images all throughout their life of white privilege and white is beautiful and white wealth and success, and that's been spread all across the world. But it affects the black mind even more because you know if you're I'm sorry. I'm gonna take it there. I'm sorry, guys. You're gonna get a piece of what AKDI has to deal with all the time, man. But like, imagine like if you're Turkish, right? You see those images of white power, Japan or China. You see those images, you say, okay, I can get close to that. But when you're black, like you could never be close to that because we never be that, right? In the sense. So like, I'm sure in the Gambia and all across Africa, that's been affecting the minds of people. And so yeah, it leaves a stain, it leaves a mark on the brain. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, I just wish all the Gambian men continue to just take those bank accounts and drain them. Just drain them, man. Just,
Yeah.
I'm joking.
No, but like what you say is correct because that's why like there's so much difference between West Africa and the rest of Africa. Like,
What do you mean? You mean East Africa, like where we went, or what are
oh
you
no,
talking about? West Africa,
sorry, not West. Yeah, it's North
East
Africa.
Africa. We were
Sorry.
in Tanzania. Oh, North Africa. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like there's so much difference between North Africa because they do see themselves closer to white, and
yeah,
in terms of like them being lighter skinned Africans.
yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. But let's get back
But
to Gambia.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. You had something?
I was gonna say one thing that I didn't tell you
Oh,
when we were
tell me.
in America is that sometimes when people like when we walk together and sometimes people like look at us and stuff like that, mostly like woman and older woman, I felt like I felt not like the word is not guilty, but I felt like they would think, "Oh, look at this white lady stealing our men." Not like guilt, but
That's
something
funny.
like
That's funny. That's funny. That's why didn't you tell me that before? You should have told me that. That would have told you
I
something.
don't know, like, it's just something that I felt sometimes.
Yeah.
Probably maybe they weren't thinking that,
Who
but
knows? Who knows?
sometimes you get like those type of negative looks and you think what they might be thinking, and maybe that's part of the white guilt that I had there.
Yeah. I feel like I ruined your experience in Africa. You know, I tell you this all the time, but I really feel like uh, hanging out with me kind of ruined your Africa trip. Did it? Did I ruin your Africa trip?
No, no, don't say that. You didn't. I mean, first of all, most of the times I feel like you helped me a little bit because, even though you're American, you're black. So I feel like maybe in some places your blackness like helped us not getting robbed that hard.
Uh huh.
Because
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
if we were both white, then that would have been like harder on our financials probably.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
before, like, you made me look at things so differently and in a good way. Like, you made me
Mm-hmm.
harder. We had so many
Mm-hmm.
interesting conversations while we were in Africa, and I cherish all of them. So don't think like
Yeah.
you ruined the trip. You made it 100 times better.
Yeah, and beautiful moments too. And yeah, for anybody watching this in the playback and she doesn't know what she means by like my blackness helped us not get robbed. When you go to East Africa, right, and you are not from there, especially if you have an accent or you look different, they are going to charge you double, triple the price. They're going to fight with you over the price. They're going to make up something just trying to get more money out of you. There have been times like we were playing pool in a bar, and after we finish playing pool, they come up to us and say, "Give us money for playing pool." Like, what is that? Like, you know what I mean? So, what she's trying to say is like, there might have been times, and we'll never know, where they saw me and thought, okay, maybe he's Tanzanian, maybe he's Kenyan, so we can't try that on him without ever talking to me. You know what I mean? So I just want to let people know that if they watch this later.
Yeah, I don't know, but and also because of that, I sometimes feel guilty because I think maybe I ruined your Africa trip because like maybe if you had a, black girlfriend or a black wife, then maybe you wouldn't be treated like as a tourist or something.
No, 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 because as
And
soon as I spoke, no, no, no.
they were gonna do the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, as soon as I spoke, or as soon as she spoke, whether she was African or from America or from anywhere, like we were still gonna get once again to something that I thought I just needed proof for it, right? And once again, you're my wife, and I love you, and I want to
Oh,
go everywhere with you, and I wouldn't want to go to Africa for the first time without you. So fuck all that. Like, let's do it again with you a million times over. So don't ever think. I don't want you ever to think like you know you ruined my experience or anything about you ruins anything. You make everything better.
oh,
You make
wow.
everything better.
Okay, so we're making this like a cheesy love session.
No, we're building. We're talking. No, we're keeping it. We're keeping it real. But no. Let's talk about Gambia. Let's talk about Gambia for
Yeah.
real. Like, all right. So, guys, if you're just now coming into the chat, we're talking about how in Gambia there are some British old women who go there purposely seeking out young black men to have relationships with them, and yeah, they all right, what's up, wacky world? But anyway, yeah, we're talking about old British women going to the Gambia trying to get young black men to be their boyfriends, husbands, whatever. And a lot of them are getting tricked out of their money and they're taking advantage of these young black boys because, they're robbing them of the opportunity to be with women who could give them children or they could have real relationships with. You know what I mean? Tell me what you think about that. Like, do you think that these women are doing something more exploitative because they're robbing these young men of the opportunity to be with women that they could actually grow with? Because that's sort of like how I feel. Like, it's like if me as a grown man, like I try to holler at some like 18-year-old girl or something like that, even though that's legal, I'm still, in my opinion, like robbing that girl of the opportunity to find someone she could actually like build with. You know what I mean? And we don't really in common, and we don't have anything we can really like develop
Yeah.
with. You know what I mean? We're in two different spaces in the world. Like she's just out of high school, and I'm a grown man. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Tell me if I'm tripping about that.
No, I don't think you're tripping because the I think the British women are the more exploitative person in this dynamic because the proof is that, like you said, there are a lot of African descendant or black men in the UK, right? Why don't they go after them? Like,
Hmm.
they don't have to fly across the world and spend money in a resort and all of that. But
Right.
the reason that they don't go after them is because in a normal social construct, those type of men will not go for the old ladies. Like, let's be honest, maybe some
Mhm.
do. You know,
Mhm.
everybody has a taste, no judgment. But most of them, let's say like 90% of them, won't go for that because people want somebody their age, or when you're at that age as a young man, you are looking for someone who's also physically more attractive than a 90-year-old. Yeah, talking like all honesty. So
Mhm.
yeah, like that proves that it's exploitative, that these women are going to the Gambia and then they are, you know, using their privilege to lure these men. And basically, because they don't have any other option, they're fine with it because maybe it's like easier than the jobs they could be doing. I don't know.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
pay
Yeah.
also because they just have to be with them for, like, let's say 3 times a year for a week, and they just have to like sort of maybe force themselves into having something sexual or maybe they enjoy it too. I don't know, like, I'm not judging anybody, but yeah, like it's like working, 3 weeks a year and getting all this money to build your house, because what they most of
Right.
them doing, right? Like they were taking the money that the white lady gives them and were building houses, taking care of like family of five, six, whatever, and stuff like that. So, you know, it is kind of like an easy way to get a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. And in the documentary, there was a guy who said he was with an 85-year-old woman from Belgium, and he was about 30 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, he said this 85-year-old Belgian woman gave him 60,000 euros, and he slept with her. And the interviewer asked him, "Hey, are you attracted to an 85-year-old woman?" He said, of course, I love her. She is my life." And I just knew in the back of his mind, he was like, "Oh God, what have I come to?" I knew in the back of his mind, he was like, "Man, is this what it's worth?" But yeah, there's these guys are, uh, doing it raw, they're living a very extreme life, and it's kind of sad to be in that point. But I think, you know, there's a bunch of documentaries about women being sex workers in this situation. Watch those sorts of documentaries. Like you're seeing women having to themselves and resort to this sort of because they live in a society or in a world that prevents women from getting educated and getting opportunities and that sort of thing. But it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch and see guys go through that. You know what I mean? And yeah, and I don't know. Do you want to add on to that?
I mean, there's one thing to say about that because, like you said, it's hard to watch, and there are a lot of like cases where women are, the subject of sex work, and we never really question if the woman is, the exploiter. Uh,
Mm,
I guess
yeah.
like maybe in the case of like having a sugar daddy or something, maybe you might question that. But even that is kind of like fine because we don't, still a lot of people don't see woman as, someone maybe who can make a lot of money or something
Mm,
like that.
hmm.
Or maybe see woman as someone who doesn't want to work. So therefore they choose this sort of like way. But yeah, that's just like a question that I had to drop. Like, do we judge the woman same way we judge these African men who do sex work as well?
The thing is, black people and women in general have a lot in common, right? Uh, in the sense that women across the world generally are exploited and kept from privilege and power, right? And that's the same for a lot of black people. So it's hard to watch black men be exploited like this because it's not the same feeling you would get as if you were watching like white men getting exploited like this. Like white men, keep it real, are kind of like responsible for if they were in this situation, it wouldn't feel so hard. It wouldn't sting so much. But like seeing black men be in this situation, and we didn't create the patriarchy. We didn't create, this global capitalist system that makes some countries rich and the rest of them poor. We didn't create this world where Africa gets its wealth exploited and it goes all up to Europe and the UK and stuff like that. And then to see them having to, lick 80-year-old Gucci, it makes it makes it makes it hard, you know. And that's what makes it. I feel like makes it even more sad than watching like women do it. Not trying to compare, but I'm just gonna feel a certain way, of course, as a black man, watching. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, you're sympathizing with other males, so I understand that. And yeah, like I don't know. I think we had a question in the chat. Do you want to?
Yeah, you want to read it? Go ahead.
Okay. If all sides are doing these things voluntarily, then who can be accused of being the exploiter? Rhetorical question.
I would like clarification on that because I don't know if he's trying to say, sarcastically, who can be exploited in this situation? The rich white woman or the poor African? Who could be? I don't know if that's sarcastic or if he's trying to say who can be exploited, as in, the Africans are getting something and the old British white women are getting something.
I think it's a question, but let's ask the wacky world. Your connection dropped too.
Your connection.
Okay.
I think it's because we're sharing the same Wi-Fi. That's why it's hard to do. Yeah, but go
No,
ahead.
I
Say your
said
question
like I
again.
think he's being serious, but we can wait for him to respond while we talk.
I mean, I'll respond. I'll respond. In my opinion, wacky world, you know, the women are doing this voluntarily, and the African men are doing it voluntarily. But it's just the same as me as a man buying a female prostitute voluntarily on both ends. This agreement, but we know a lot of the times women who do sex work are doing it in exploitative situations where they don't have a lot of options and they are forced to do work that is dangerous, unsafe, and that is morally and physically degrading, right? And I'm not saying that I'm against legalized sex work, but the way sex work is done in our world now is under a lot of pressure that is not positive, right? So that's my opinion. If I go to Mexico to, spend $20 to sleep with a woman, that's bad. That's bad because we both know that $20 is not a lot of money. And you're making this person give up their body for $20. You get what I'm saying? Like that's exploitative. You want to read that for us? Go ahead, read that comment.
Wait, it disappeared. Okay. What I'm saying is that when it comes to sex work, if both sides are voluntarily making the choice to exchange sex for money, then either both are the exploiters or none of them are exploiters.
I, I, I'll answer that. I really want to hear your opinion about that. In my opinion, that is true in a perfect world. In a perfect world. But in a capitalist world, in the world we have now, where sex work is illegal and is in the black market, it cannot be done without exploitation because the exchange is not fair, right? There is no amount of money that you can pay right now in this world we have now, where the sex work is done illegally, that it will be done fairly. Because number one, a lot of prostitutes have pimps. Let's keep it real. A lot of prostitutes have pimps. If you pay a girl to sleep with you, there is a very high probable chance that $100, $200 is going into the hands of a man here and say, yeah, sex work is, yeah, exploitative on both sides or non-exploitative on both sides in this world that we know we live in, right? So that's what I'm saying. But go ahead, Acty. I really want to hear what you have to say.
Well, how I think is like, I guess, very logical. If you like make, let's say, a table for both sides, I would say that the motive for old ladies is emotional, and of course, it's still a motive, and it's still like considerably important. On the other hand, the motive for the guys for doing this is like survival. So there's like a difference of importance, I think, and also what they gain and sacrifice differs. So I think that's where we can see that it's exploitative and it's not the same. I'm not saying like there isn't an exploitative side for the ladies. There is, but when you compare it to the Gambian men, I feel like it's a lot less. So that's why I would say, you know, the men in this scenario are being exploited. That's my opinion, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point, and that's very true. If a man says the only way I can eat today is by sleeping with an 85-year-old British white woman, that's not a good situation. That is inherently exploitative. That's very true, actually. Well, can you
Yeah.
read this other comment? What else did he say?
Can you repeat that? You're cut. Oh, if you were.
Made another comment. What was his other comment?
Oh, okay. Let me read it. If one pays a person $20 for sex and the person agrees to it, then you're not forcing anyone to do anything. Well,
Of course, that yeah. That
um,
I don't know. I think he thinks force always has to go with exploitation, but something can be done without force that is exploitation.
definitely. Like I think like he is or she is, I don't know. Um, Wacky World. Uh,
Hmm.
you're thinking very on paper, and yes, on paper, 1 + 1 = 2. If the person agrees to it and you agree to it, like, it's not exploitative. But in the real world, it's not like that. And when you consider, the standards, the economics, the psychology of that person, mental health of that person, and all of that, some things are not calculated in terms of money.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's very on paper, on
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
applicable in real life situations.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. This is like the time that I now understand what my wife says. Not everything is always about logic. There's other things too. Now I get what you're saying now. Because this is a perfect situation. He said we can agree to disagree then. Hey, that's fine, but let's keep it real. I think he dropped out. I think he got mad and left. I don't know if he did. But I'll just say this. I'll I'll just say this: exploitation and force don't have to be the same. Like I can hire, like Mexicans to work on my farm and pick apples for $2 a day. Nobody's being forced. And then I go sell apples at the market for $100 a pound, and I become a millionaire. There's no force in that, but that's exploitation. And so, in this situation, the men are not being forced to give up their bodies and sleep with old British ladies. But in this situation, there's all right, yeah. But in this situation, these men are doing something that they wouldn't normally do for
Yeah.
money, and that's exploitative. But yeah, yeah. You want to add on?
No, I mean, I don't know what else to add on, but yeah, I do agree with you.
Yeah, yeah. But let's because we only have about a few minutes left. We're only going to be on live for like 15 more minutes, guys. So if you have comments, questions, or if you're going to watch this later in the playback, leave a comment saying that you want more live streams like this with me and this beautiful woman because we could talk about anything all day, everything. But I want to ask you this. So what do we take from this situation about the Gambian men sleeping with the British women? Do we want this to stop? Is this something that we should discourage? Should Gambia try to do something to prevent this practice from happening? Is that even possible? What do you think?
Of course, like if you think paper logic, I you could say that it should stop because it's unfair to both parties. One of them is emotionally or financially taken advantage of. The other one is physically and mentally taken advantage of, and all of those things. So yeah, like it should stop. But at the same time, like I said, I feel guilty because these people depend on this type of work to survive and maybe feed their children, maybe take care of their wives, send their children to school, and those sort of things. So I don't think this could be something that could solve, you know that could be solved by just saying, okay, Gambian men, stop doing sex work, or okay, UK ladies, stop going to Gambia for sex. And I don't think you can stop it like that. It's like more systemical,
Systemic.
systemic. Yeah. So maybe it's something that the both governments can come together and do something about it. And in that
Hmm.
case, it will be better, in my opinion. And probably it won't stop until something like that happens.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
In my opinion, like you said, like it's very hard to stop because Gambia is so dependent on this sort of tourism, this economic force, all the money coming from these British white ladies. So yeah, it's hard to stop. And like I said earlier in the live stream, Gambia is a country that's sort of doomed to fail. I say all the time that there are no poor countries in the world. There are only poor people in rich countries. But Gambia is probably the exception to that rule. If you look at it on a map, guys, it's just literally a sliver on the river. It's like literally a snake. Somebody drew a country around the edge of a river. And it's like, what do they have? And this is one of the few times I really think that the country probably should be dissolved and be a part of Senegal, which has a much bigger economy, which is a country that's doing a little bit better, not that much better. But I really think Gambia, as a country, is sort of doomed to fail and never is going to get out of tourism if all they have is this little piece of land around a river. And I really think that the British women should be ashamed of themselves that they have to um, resort to exploiting, young boys in poor situations. Because I'm pretty sure if we ask these women, what do you think about the guys who go to Thailand to sleep with the lady boys for $5? They're gonna say, they're gross. Oh, but you get your back blown out by Matumbo and his boys. Oh yeah, it's fine. Like, that's not cool. You know what I mean? they think that's fine. I don't know. Am I tripping about that? What do you think?
Like, I know you support passport bros, but there are a lot of like passport bros who go to Thailand to blow the backs of Thai boys, or anyone in Thailand, girls and Thai boys, or whatever. But I feel like men, when they do this, they don't face the same criticism. So I'm gonna draw my little feminist card here. Uh, I think everyone should be ashamed because both exploitative. So
Right.
yeah, like, and I do agree with like the last live comment.
Yeah, read the comment for us. Can you read it for us?
The Gambian government may be looking at this from a tourism perspective and probably is afraid of losing tourism if they try to step in and stop it.
Hmm.
But the Gambian government might decriminalize it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think, number one, in my opinion, I think the Gambian government definitely should find a way, like a lot of countries in the world, to decriminalize sex work, right? Uh, and find a way to regulate it to make it safe, because these women are not playing around. You're going to Africa to sleep with young men. There's a high chance you might catch AIDS. There's a high chance you might get venereal disease. And that's just not saying AIDS is only in Africa. AIDS is everywhere. You can't be running around doing it raw, with anybody nowadays. It's dangerous. And yeah, that might be a way, but I think it is a systemic problem where we don't want to see a black African country totally dependent on sex tourism. Come
Yeah,
on now, like we don't want that as black people. That should be a shame. But
but
tell me.
yeah, going back to what we were talking about, like yeah, it's not only these women that do this, so I don't want to like make them the bad guys, but yeah, I also get the everyone should be ashamed for going traveling to a whole another country just to have like sex and then not giving these people the money they deserve or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
uh,
Right.
like I don't know how that could be fixed, to be honest, because
Yeah.
I'm not as liberal as you are when it comes to sex work. uh
Really? I thought we agreed on this. I mean, my opinion, for anybody who doesn't know, sex work should be legal. And also, I'm going to keep it real. People might hate me for this. I think sex work should be monitored by the government and there should be state run brothels because the state can guarantee that people are doing their STD tests, that they are having pregnancy checks. Like the state can make sure that, these brothels are safe, secure, and, maybe people might not go. Maybe people will be scared to go to the brothel and not buy prostitutes because, oh no, the government's control. You know what I mean? That's what I think. That's what I.
like I mean, if sex work is gonna happen, I'd rather have it your way than what we have right now. Definitely, definitely. It's just the thing is, in my opinion, a lot of people who do sex work don't do it wantingly, and they would probably rather do something else if they have the opportunity to do something else. So that's why I think if it's legal, then maybe it won't be this popular, or it will still have demand, but you know I think it might not be as popular as today, because most people do it out of desperation, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but if it's gonna happen, like yes, I would rather have that. We have another comment.
Yeah. Wacky World. Shout out to Wacky World, man. I like you, man. Keep commenting. Keep coming, man. We hope to keep on bringing you good content. Can you read his comment for us?
Yep. The possible irony is that if these British females end up catching HIV or AIDS while tricking in Gambia, they'll go to the media acting like victims while painting the Gambian government as villains.
That's funny. What do you think about that?
I mean, that is definitely true because they have the Karen tendency living in the. Like, I've never seen African Karen, in my life, so, you
Yeah.
know, and
Oh,
maybe there is, like, I don't know, but I just never seen one. Uh,
funny story, guys. I gotta share this story. She mentioned an African Karen. I got attacked by a white Karen in Arusha, Tanzania, at a cafe. While I was doing one of my classes, I was talking to one of my students, and this white Karen, as she's leaving the cafe, comes up to me and says, "You shouldn't be doing this here." And this older black lady is in the back and she's like shaking her head. And then I come up and talk to her later and I say, "Did you see that? Can you believe that?" And then I ask her her name and she says, "Well, I'm Karen." You remember that?
yeah, that was funny.
Yeah,
Karens
yeah,
we met in Africa were pretty nice, actually. Like the Karens who were actually named Karen, not like the
yeah.
hypothetical Karen.
You remember the other Karen that we met in Africa?
Yeah, in Mauritius, the
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. She was awesome. I like her. Can you read
Yeah.
that other comment?
Acti knows about the Karenitis. What? Am I
Karenitis.
Karenitis within some Caucasian females? What do you mean, wacky world?
I don't think he's implying you're a Karen. I don't think he's just saying that
No,
you
no,
know.
not no. Okay, no, I don't think he's implying that either.
Yeah.
But Karens are not only women. Let's just say that.
No, yeah, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. There's all types of Karens
Are
out there.
mostly white. Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah. They're just, you know what? Let's keep it real. I know white women get a bad rap, but let's keep it real. Karens are just people who are overprivileged and then also a bit, how can I say this, OCD? I think obsessive compulsive. They probably have like some obsessive compulsive disorder or
I
something
think
like
they
that.
also like to play the victim. They like to victimize themselves and not realize their privilege.
Yeah, and I think I don't know because you're the psych, you're smarter in this sense, but like there has to be like some psychological disorder where you are obsessed with the order of of others, like you are obsessed with what others are doing because you think it's disorderly or abnormal. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Or
mean,
maybe
I
that's just racism. Did I just describe racism?
not it's racism, but like I don't know like the specific, disease
Mhm.
for that. I'm not a psychologist yet, but yeah, like it could possibly a personality disorder or something like you said, OCB,
Mm, yeah, OCD. Yeah,
OCD.
okay.
Look at me being.
Guyana, Guyana Brent left a comment. You want to read that?
Isn't it already government regulated in a way? There's OnlyFans, Pornhub, Twitter, IG, etc. There's a lot of book selling on these social sites.
Bussy selling. Hey, that's funny. That's so funny that he put Instagram in there with Pornhub. That shows you how far Instagram has fallen. Instagram is basically like a sex site.
It is like I know you're not on Instagram, but I
Yeah.
get like weird messages from like spam channels, and I
Hmm.
like, click on it, and it's like either like bussy or a lot of female genitalia on my face, and it's like it looks like one of those pop-ups when you go to like a pirate website.
Oh God! Wow, that's gross. See, that's why I don't use Instagram because the DM is the devil. You know what DM stands for? Devil messages. You're getting
Wow.
messages from and those are devil messages. But yeah. What else did Wacky World say?
Twitter and Instagram are basically sex
No,
sites, right?
yeah, but before that, he's saying, "What?
Oh,
Yeah, the chat keeps disappearing. My chat doesn't stay up."
yeah, me neither. You have to hold it. I'm
Oh,
not acting as a Karen, nor am I exclusively tying Karenitis to Caucasian females, but like Simon says, no pun intended, privileged narcissists is my definition of
yeah,
Karen.
Karen.
It's a hard
Yeah, yeah,
anyway.
no, yeah, definitely. Karen's. Narcissist is a good word.
Yeah.
Wacky world. That's absolutely true. They're narcissistic, but I do think they are obsessed with order. I really think that's like deep down what they're obsessed with. You know, and yeah, but not all Karens are white women. It's just we've seen a lot of examples of that.
Yeah.
Because there's just a lot of that going around. But yeah, yeah. So about the Gambia, once again, let's just summarize it for anybody. My wife and I were chopping it up about white women going to the Gambia and these black men who are their sex toys and people getting exploited that way. And we were just chopping it up about the ideas about that. And in summary, I just have to say, I really hope Gambia. I hope Gambia finds a way to develop its economy past tourism. I really hope that people stop exploiting the third world, especially people from like developed countries and stuff like that. And I hope that sex work is done in a way in the future where everybody's safe and non-exploited and can enter into these agreements, freely. That's my opinion. You have anything you want to add on?
Uh, mm, like I agree with you. Yes, I mean these countries, most African countries, have so much to offer other than sex work.
Mm,
Like so many things to offer. Great cultures, so different in a beautiful way, so colorful, so vibrant. Great nature. Like I can just list 50 more things.
mm,
Um, and it's just sad to see those things not being on the front of the country's tourism,
mm,
and there's sex work that is like what the country is known for. And I mean we've never been to Gambia, but I'm
mm.
sure like it's still a pretty country.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like Yeah, when we went to going to Diani was like the best beach in the world. Going to Chemka Falls in Tanzania was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Going to that water bank, that sand bank in Zanzibar with you, your mama, and Egahan was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been.
Yeah,
Uh, Jumping into what's it called? That waterfall in Mauritius was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Africa has so much more to offer old white British women than just big black cock. That's what we need to get from this. From more than more than just BBC. There is the sea, there is mountains, there's rivers, there's
yeah,
valleys. You get what I'm saying?
yeah, and like in every country that has tourism, such as Turkey, you're gonna have those people, who are dating with tourists, getting married to tourists for visa purposes, money purposes, whatever. We have those people in Turkey too, but it's not as big as an issue that it turns like to a whole problem, and that's like it doesn't become the whole of tourism. It's
Mhm.
just like a side part of it, and
Mhm.
that's fine. Like, of course you're gonna have those people. Maybe they think, those people are exotic, or they think they can have a better future or things like that. But when it comes this big, then I think that's a problem.
Yeah,
So
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah, that's, I guess, all I will say.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we want to thank everybody for watching the live stream, for being involved. Actually, I want to say I love you and thank you for coming in, sharing your insight. You have some very, very good points, and you're very cute and easy to look at on the screen. And yeah, man, you're making it hard for me to not run into that room. And yeah, yeah, you know.
Okay, okay, chill. I love you too.
So yeah, let us know if y'all want us to do this again. And Acty, are you down to do this again sometime?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like, I
Yeah,
would love to discuss other topics as well. I have
yeah. Yeah, yeah, it was fun. So we're gonna leave the link to this documentary that we were talking about in the description. Check it out. Thanks for watching this channel, and yeah, peace.